I am constantly in awe of how bad Carolyn Leavitt is at her job. This is someone who just has to lie on behalf of Donald Trump all day long, and she is consistently screwing it up. She just needs to prop up the ego of the dear leader and pretend like the guy with bruises all over his hands covered up with makeup and the giant cankles, the pudding coming out of his brain. She has to pretend that that guy is big, strong, and tough. And boy, did she fail again and again. But this time was the worst example yet, because Carolyn's text, filled with swears and meltdowns, just leaked in a humiliating way for Donald Trump. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into the lies that were exposed, just in general, but specifically about Donald Trump's inability to end the war between Russia and Ukraine, I want to start with another lie that Carolyn Leavitt has been telling, not over text, but on TV.
Because they're just flat out lying. Oh, we're not funding illegal immigrants. Yes, they are.
They are. Their continuing resolution that they proposed to keep the government open included a poison pill that would have undone what President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill did, which is to restrict illegal aliens from receiving Medicaid benefits. President Trump fixed that in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and Democrats want to take it away because they want these taxpayer-funded benefits to continue to go to illegal aliens in our country. This has been done for the past 4 years under the Biden administration, and the American people roundly rejected it. And you hear AOC, who is apparently the new leader of the Democrat Party in that CNN town hall, say to a concerned American when that American asked, "Do you want my taxpayer-funded benefits going to illegals?" She said, "That's a Republican talking point. Those aren't the real issues Americans are facing." That is a lie. If you look at what happened under the Biden administration, real Americans, elderly citizens, were facing an increase in wait times at hospitals and emergency care centers across the country because they were putting last in line, and illegal aliens were getting that care and that treatment first. And when illegal aliens get medical treatment in this country, who's paying for it? The American taxpayer. Well, not anymore under the Trump administration. That's why this administration is focused on deporting illegal aliens who violate our nation's laws. And we're going to protect the rights and the benefits of tax-paying, law-abiding American citizens.
Okay.
I told y'all this, and I am going to hold true to it. I will use every example of Republicans lying about undocumented people in this country to give them the truth that they do not want to hear. The very inconvenient truth, which is the point I hope you have drilled into your head, and I hope you throw it back at any conservative or MAGA triple Trumper you ever bump into. And that is that undocumented people pay over $100 billion in taxes every single year, mostly in payroll taxes. That is funding Medicare, that is funding Social Security, that is funding unemployment benefits that they can't access. They are not stealing anything from you. They are giving. That is what undocumented people do in this country. Immigrants built this country. They sustain this country. They subsidize this country. And I am tired of Carolyn Leavitt lying through her teeth and her new filled-up lips and Botox face and whatever thing she's doing to please the dear leader, but she cannot make Donald Trump look strong. Donald Trump is fundamentally weak. That is why he has to lash out at undocumented people. That's why he lashes out at people of color, specifically black women. Why he attacks trans people. Because he is weak and insecure, especially in the face of a strong man that he adores, like Vladimir Putin, who Zelensky called out Trump over his weakness. And it was important for the context of what Carolyn was texting in these leaked messages. So I want to hear from Zelensky first.
Does President Trump need to get tougher with President Putin?
Yes, and even more, because Putin is something similar, but more strong than Hamas. It's more bigger war, and he is the second army in the world.
So the stage is set. We know that Carolyn is an annoying liar. We know she cannot prop up Donald Trump's weekend at Bernie's body at this point to make him look like a tough guy, because Zelensky is calling him out. We even saw reporting recently that there was a fight in the White House between Zelensky and Trump, a swear-filled rant. Because Zelensky is pointing out the fact that Donald Trump is once again caving to Putin. He is doing it all over the place. And that was the contents of Carolyn Leavitt's text, which weren't just leaked. They were leaked by her, and it was completely humiliating. And we're gonna take a look. Bullshit. Carolyn Leavitt shares hostile text messages with far-left hack reporter White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt. On Monday shared a screenshot of a text exchange in which she called HuffPost reporter SV, date, an unserious far-left hack, and asked him to stop sending his disingenuous, biased, and bullshit questions. Leavitt posted the screenshot of the text exchange on X. A few days after the date, published a story titled, "White House Gives Wild Response to a Simple Question Asked by HuffPost Reporter Date." In the story reported, Leavitt responded, "Your mom did," when he was asked who suggested Budapest for an upcoming meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. His story questioned the selection of the Hungarian capital since Putin had violated the 1994 Budapest Memorandum, where Ukraine gave up its nuclear weapons in exchange for Russia respecting its territory. A deal that was obviously violated by Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine. 3 days after the date story was published, Leavitt on Monday shared a longer look at the Your Mom exchange. Here is what those messages said. According to her screenshot of her text, date, is the president aware of the significance of Budapest? In 1994, Russia promised in Budapest not to invade Ukraine if it gave up nuclear weapons it inherited when the Soviet Union dissolved. Does he not see why Ukraine might object to the site? Who suggested Budapest? Thanks. Love it. Your mom did. Date, is this funny to you? It's funny to me that you actually consider yourself a journalist. You are a far-left hack who nobody takes seriously, including your colleagues in the media. They just don't tell you that to your face. Stop texting me your disingenuous, biased, and bullshit questions. Yes, Carolyn Leavitt tweeted this out from her official account. Date responded to her Twitter post 20 minutes later at 11:20 a.m. and said, "Feel better now. Now you can answer the question, please, and thank you." So aside from Carolyn Leavitt proving her absolute stupidity, along with Donald Trump's absolute stupidity and the absolute stupidity of everyone in this administration, God, they're fucking stupid. She also just shows the disdain she has for the purpose of her job. She is the press secretary. She is supposed to engage with the press. Carolyn Leavitt started her very first day by saying, "I promise and I pledge on the love and the tweets of the dear leader that I will always deliver the truth, and I will fill my face with Botox. I always highlight my hair so it's nice and blonde for Donald." And has she lived up to anything except the bad makeover? No. Carolyn Lewis does not speak the truth. She does not engage with journalists. Why? Because she hates them. She hates the First Amendment. She hates freedom of speech. She hates that journalists in this country can push back against the dear leader, at least for now, while it's legal. And you know what? Let's make it clear. Carolyn Lewis hates America. Donald Trump hates America. They hate our values. They hated No King's Day because it was pushing back against their authoritarian takeover. And I talked about this in a way that I think more people need to, in a video with the Bulwark responding to Donald Trump, quite literally pooping all over America. And I want to take a listen to what I had to say. I'm really just tired of this being a narrative that, like, Gavin Newsom can't say anything critical about Oklahoma, which I don't even think that, like, the literacy rate tracks there. And I'm sorry to my friends in Oklahoma. Did you see the way that he humped that flag? But you see this on the right, where they'll take the tiniest little, like, out of context clip of someone vaguely associated with the left. They will make it a national scandal. They will use it to define liberals as a whole. But the president of the United States is, like, using taxpayer money to generate AI slut videos of him actually shitting on people dropping feces. And again, Republicans will just say, "Biden, I didn't see it. I don't know." Like, what standard do we hold Donald Trump to anymore? Like, I know the media won't really give this any attention. I'm sure, again, Republicans will just say, I didn't see it. Or, oh, you know, Trump, he loves the memes, but he's shitting on us. I don't understand why we can't attribute the same level of accountability to the President of the United States that any random influencer on TikTok with 10,000 followers can now become a national story. All we saw from this administration over the past month was a justification for what they said would be, you know, increased police presence on the streets, largely as a result of the left hating America. You know, anyone who posted something about Charlie Kirk was fired from their job, rooted out of the military. Conservatives en masse decided that they were going to get those people fired, but the President of the United States literally shitting on people gets no rise out of conservatives. It just doesn't track at all. But this is how they wanted to present us. They wanted to say that the people protesting yesterday, the 7 million of us who went out at No Kings, that we hated America. Caroline Leavitt said that we were Hamas sympathizers, that we were criminals, that we were paid. I don't have to be paid to hate Donald Trump. It's just something that comes very naturally to me. But I find it ridiculous that there will be no accountability, that Donald Trump continues to act like a child, that it is us who has to condemn political violence when right now the president is carrying out extrajudicial killings off the coast of Venezuela because Pete Hegseth is too insecure about his inability to do his job, and yet we're violent. It really doesn't track. And the person who made the point clearest was yesterday at the No Kings protest when Bernie Sanders said this.
Millions of Americans are coming out today not because they hate America. We're here because we love America. We're here because we're going to do everything we can to honor the sacrifices of millions of men and women who, over the last 250 years, fought and sometimes died to defend our democracy and our...
These people refuse to take accountability while they jail us for our pushback. It is ridiculous, and it needs to be called out. We are certainly going to on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting. Do not let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.